So, what do we mean by Islam? Oh, Islam is a religion of peace. We're just talking about a few fanatics and extremists. Lie. That's the popular lie promoted by President Bush. He should know better than that. The UN, the EU, they keep saying, here's what they say, well, not every Muslim is a terrorist, but they don't tell you that nearly every terrorist is a Muslim. And that is a fact. I may have mentioned, some of you may have heard, I was being interviewed on a secular radio in Washington, D.C. And that was how the talk show host began. Well, Mr. Hunt, what do you think about extremist Islam? I said, first of all, I object to the word extremists. These people are not extremists. They are real Muslims. They are practicing Islam the way it is. And well, they had a Muslim waiting for me in the wings. And he comes out and he says, well, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm a Muslim. I was raised in Islam. And I can tell you, Islam is peace. Well, I said, that's interesting. Maybe you could give us one example where Islam ever brought peace. Silence. There isn't any. Well, you know, Islam means submission. That's the only. You need to read that man's book. In its foreword, James W. Gerard, former U.S. ambassador to Germany, describes Horton's book as, quote, the whole story of the savage extermination of Christian civilization by Muslims throughout the length and breadth of the old Byzantine Empire. Horton himself writes, this process of extermination was carried on over a considerable period of time with fixed purpose, with system, with painstaking minute details, and it was accomplished with unspeakable cruelties, causing the destruction of a greater number of human beings than have suffered in any other similar persecution since the coming of Christ. Yet Islam continues to masquerade as a religion of peace, and we go right along with this lie. And I get really angry. And I would hope that some of you would do something about this. Write about it to your local newspaper. Call some people. Do something. I want to awaken and anger you to rise up and do something about this lie that's in the media. These are fanatics. No, they're not fanatics. These are real Muslims. And I can tell you, you go to, look, you can seem to be a peaceful Muslim in America, but let Islam take over America, which they intend to do. I was speaking in England. I was in a city that was 75% Muslim. Muslim mayor, of course. People are moving out. They boast that city would be 100% Muslim. And they're going to have a string of cities in a crescent shape across England, all 100% Muslim. And they're going to adopt Sharia, Islamic law. Now, this is their intention. They were turned back at the gates of Vienna. They were turned back at Poitiers, Tours Poitiers. But now they have a more effective invasion. It's not a frontal assault. It's an invasion of immigrants. And the United States is letting them in by the thousands. Since 9/11, we've let in more than 50,000 young Muslim men of fighting age. How could we possibly be so idiots, such idiots? It makes no sense. But I want you to do something about it. I hope you will. So, here we are today. Now, what's this all about over there? Well, turn to Genesis, chapter 11. See, when you read the Bible, this is not the Bhagavad Gita, folks. This is not the Book of Mormon, just pure lies, fiction. This is the Word of the living God. And you are reading about not only prophecy, but you're reading history. These are real people. You read about the Hittites and Perizzites and Jebusites and Amorites and Canaanites and so forth. They really lived. and you read of true events. Well, here is Genesis 11, verse 31. Terah took Abram and so forth. And they went forth, just skip down the middle of the verse, they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Palestine. Is that what your Bible says? Oh, wait a minute. There's no Palestine? Surprise, surprise, there was no such place. This is the land of Canaan, all right? Go over to verse 5 of the next chapter. They went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. Now, verse 6, the Canaanite was then in the land, and the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land. All right? Think, please think. The Arabs today claim to be the descendants of Abraham through Ishmael. Now, Ishmael was the firstborn, of course, but he was an illegitimate son. Well, they say it doesn't matter. He still was the firstborn, and he gets the land. He inherits the promises. And we have a problem in the Middle East today because there is a people who call themselves Palestinians, and they claim to be descended from the original Palestinians. And they say, we were here first, and those Jews are occupying our land. You hear about the occupied territories? No. Well, they're occupying Jewish land. They've got it backwards. All right, well, so you're descended from Ishmael, and you're descended from the original Palestinians. Who was Ishmael's father? Abraham. What was his nationality? Well, not yet. He was a Chaldean. We just read it. It said they went forth from Ur of the Chaldees, right? So Abraham was a Chaldean. Who was Ishmael's mother? Hagar. What was her nationality? Egyptian. So you've got an Egyptian mother, you've got a Chaldean father, and when they arrive in this land called Canaan, it's already settled by Canaanites. And you dare to say that you are descended from the original Palestinians? You are lying. Maybe you're ignorant. You heard that over and over. It is not true, okay? Now, if you've read Judgment Day, you know. When did this land of Israel become Palestine? 130 AD, the simple history. Google it. Go on the internet. You don't even have to go to a library anymore. 130 AD, the Romans, who destroyed Jerusalem in 70 AD, began to rebuild it as a city dedicated to Jupiter. 132 AD, they began to build a temple to Jupiter on Temple Mount. You think that upset the Jews? Of course it upset them. There was an uprising. It was successful at first, but the Romans brought in more legions. About 1,000, this is just history, 1,000 Jewish villages were killed, were destroyed. They killed about 500,000 Jews. Thousands more sold into slavery. And in anger, the Romans renamed Israel. It was Israel up until 135 AD. The Romans renamed it Provincia Syria Palestina. And from that time on, everyone living there was called a Palestinian. Who lived there? Who lived there? Jews. You chase them out, they come back. This is our land. God gave it to us.